Advent. 4 weeks of Advent, then Christmas, then Epiphany, and so on. It always starts with the apocalypse. Every time you come to one Advent, whether you're in Matthew, this year we're in Matthew, or Mark, or Luke, the year we just finished, it always begins with an apocalypse. So we're in the 24th chapter of Matthew. You would think starting a new year, we'd begin in Matthew 1:1, but we do not. We start in the apocalypse of Jesus. And it's such an odd place, because it's not the beginning of the gospel, and it's not the end of the gospel. It's kind of toward the end. It's in the middle, really. But that's where we are. It's a new year in the church, but we're right back where we started. We're right back. And this is where we are. As we cycle forward, each Advent anew is a new time for renewal and reflection. I don't know if you've had much time to do any reflecting. You've mostly been shoveling, I imagine. But Advent is a time for reflection and renewal. It's a time for you to kind of look around and get your bearings. It's like a mall map. Anybody ever been to a mall and got lost? Jill and I were down at not Cherry Creek, what's the big one? Oh, with Nordstrom's, that's her favorite store. Oh, I hope she watches this. Nordstrom's. Well, what's that big mall that's south of Denver? Oh, for goodness sakes. What kind of shoppers are you? Okay, well anyway, there's a mall south of Denver, it's huge. And we were lost, and we had to look at the map. Have you ever been lost and needed a map in the mall? Yes. Okay, Dale. There's a thing called a mall. And that's where the stores are. And if you get out in a big city, you can get lost. And so you have to go there, and there's a big map, like several of them around, right? And it says, what does it say? There's a dot, and what's it say? You are here. Thank you, a long way to go for that. But you are here. And that's what Advent is. See? Whew. You'll never forget this. It's like a mall map. Advent points you to where you are and says, you are here. So where is here? The answer is in the Apocalypse text. It's between two poles. History and the future. Backward and forward. He talks about Noah, right? Noah is in the past, present, or future, Conlon. Noah. Huh? You just heard Jack say that. Noah is in the past, and Jesus talks to them about Noah. But then he talks about coming again. We call that the parousia. That's in the future. And we are in the in-between times, looking both backwards and forwards. The inauguration of the kingdom in breaking when Jesus came, and also then the completion of history when he comes again. So we're in the middle of when he came the first time, when he's coming the second time. That's where we are. You are here. And most of us are so used to living in this place of in-between, the beginning and the end, that we are cynical, right? Most of us think, it's never going to happen. Yeah? You don't go around your life thinking, I wonder if Jesus is coming back today. I don't want you to necessarily, but really most of us are like, I don't think it's going to happen. Because we've heard about it all our lives. Or we're just resigned, we don't even worry about it. But here's the thing. I don't think God expects us to do nothing. I don't think God expects us to never think about that. I think God wants us to recognize where we are and recognize that we are in the middle, and that it is in the middle that the work happens. We are living, someone said, we are living in God's story, moving from God to God. That's where we're living. Moving from God, ultimately to God. And I think that God does not expect us to know everything, but God does expect us to do something. Whether we know everything or not. We're not expected to do everything, but do something. Something is enough. So Advent, then, is both wakefulness and work. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to recognize where we are between the middle, the end, and the beginning. The other way. The beginning and the end. We're supposed to remember where we are and recognize that that's where the work happens. And we're supposed to be awake and we're supposed to do the work. And so let's talk for a minute about wakefulness. Are you awake today? Conlon. Marginally. Yes. I'm going to say this is about as awake as you ever get at 8:40. So God bless you for it. Good job for getting up and coming. Are you awake today? Keeping watch during heaven. Right after the story that we get today, this apocalypse story, Jesus goes on and tells the parable of the 10 women who are going to go to the wedding. Remember, and some have 5 have enough oil for the lamps and 5 don't. So the 5 who do are awake and watchful. Then he talks about somebody giving 5 bags of gold to one and 2 bags to another, and one invested and they were awake and doing the work. And then he talks about sheep and the goats. At the end we're going to get divided. Here's my question. Are you awake to your own life? Are you awake to your own life? This question was on my mind all week because I really think it convicted me. Because I think there's lots of times when I'm just going through life. Like, I'm just trying to get one sermon written and get to church and do all the stuff I need to do. I'm just not sure I'm always awake to my own life. I'm just trying to get through the day. And the days that I have off, it's so funny, I'm kind of bored. Right? You would think, oh, it's my day off, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm kind of bored. I'm not awake to my own life. And I'm saying to you, wake up to your own life. That's what God's calling you to do. Are you engaged in your own life? Are you looking for what God is doing in the world around you? Are you interested at all in what God is doing around you? Are you awake to that? So that's what wakefulness is. But what is the work? I said the work is in the middle. Right after the parable of the 10 virgins and the bags of gold and the sheep and the goats, here's what it says. So what I'm telling you is, in Matthew's gospel, this is all one piece. We don't get it all today, but I'm giving it to you anyway. But what he's saying is, be awake, watch for what God is up to, know that you're supposed to be engaged in the work. And then the question is, okay, I'm there, now what? What's the work? Here it is. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed of my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of God. So take the kingdom. 4, I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Where are we? We're between the beginning and the end. What are we supposed to do here? That's where the work happens. We're supposed to be awake and watch for what God is up to. And then we're supposed to do the work. What does the work look like? It looks like feeding those without food, giving water to those without water, giving clothes to those who don't have, and visiting those in prison. Basically, take care of your neighbors. That's the work. And believe me, that's something, if you got a day off, you can never get bored. Because there's lots of that to do. So here we are. Not at the beginning, not the end. But we can't be cynical. We can't just act like none of this matters. We can't buy a bunch of canned milk and canned tuna and hole up and wait for the apocalypse to happen. God will do whatever God does about the second coming. It isn't our job as disciples to live in the past or in the future. It is our job to wake up to our own lives and see where God is calling us to work while we wait, while we watch, and while we worship the God who was and who is to come.